Kanye West has never been a stranger to controversy. From storming award shows to explosive interviews to airing out personal grudges in front of millions, he has built a reputation as one of music's most unpredictable figures. But if there's one thing history has shown, it's that Kanye's feuds are never just random explosions of anger. They are calculated, layered, and often tied to something much bigger than what the headlines reveal. In 2025, Kanye has once again sparked a firestorm with his latest feud. Fans, critics, and the media are all asking the same question: why now? On the surface, it looks like another impulsive outburst from an artist who thrives on chaos. But when you look closer, a different picture begins to emerge. This isn't just about ego or pettiness. There's a hidden motive driving Kanye's actions, a deeper reason behind the noise. For years, Kanye has used feuds not only to defend his reputation, but also to shift attention, regain control of the narrative, and remind the world of his relevance. His latest battle may seem personal, but beneath the surface, it's about power, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of influence. So what is Kanye West really fighting for this time? The answer may surprise you. Kanye West and the history of feuds, chaos with a purpose. Kanye West is one of those rare figures in music whose name alone guarantees attention. He is hailed as a genius by some, a provocateur by others, and to many, a man who thrives on chaos. But if you trace his career carefully, a pattern emerges, one that reveals his feuds are rarely random. They are weapons. They are signals. They are ways for Kanye to grab the narrative and pull it back under his control. To understand his latest feud in 2025, you first have to look at the history of how he has used conflict, not just to express himself, but to fuel his empire. From the very beginning, Kanye's rise was tied to controversy. In the early 2000s, before he was a household name, he was already known inside the industry for his confidence. Some called it arrogance, and his willingness to speak his mind, no matter the cost. He clashed with producers, rappers, even record executives, insisting that he deserved recognition as more than just a beatmaker. His hunger to be seen and respected created his first informal feuds, setting him apart as someone who wouldn't stay quiet, even if it meant burning bridges. That refusal to conform became part of his identity and part of his marketing. Then came one of the most infamous moments in pop culture history: the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. When Taylor Swift accepted her award for Best Female Video, Kanye stormed the stage, grabbed the microphone, and declared that Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time. The crowd booed, Taylor was humiliated, and Kanye instantly became a villain in the eyes of millions. But here's the thing: that feud didn't just damage him, it made him bigger. The incident turned Kanye from just a successful rapper into a global talking point. His name was everywhere: news outlets, late-night shows, social media. And whether people hated him or defended him, they were still talking about him. That's the key. Over and over, Kanye has repeated this pattern. A feud erupts, headlines explode, and while critics predict his downfall, Kanye somehow finds a way to use the chaos to propel himself forward. It happened with fellow rappers, with journalists, with designers in the fashion world. When Nike didn't give him the creative freedom he wanted for his Yeezy line, he launched very public attacks against them, only to later sign with Adidas and turn Yeezy into one of the most successful sneaker brands in history. What looked like reckless ranting at the time was, in hindsight, a strategic way to pressure the industry into giving him what he wanted. The same dynamic played out with other celebrities. His on and off feud with Drake, for instance, was as much about competition as it was about artistry. Every diss, every subtle lyric, every public jab kept fans speculating and streaming. Kanye knew the value of rivalry. He understood that in a world where attention is currency, drama is one of the most powerful marketing tools. Even his clashes in the political arena, the moments when he wore a red hat, endorsed controversial figures, and alienated parts of his fan base, followed the same pattern. Each time people declared his career over, each time Kanye managed to turn the outrage into another chapter in his saga. He would drop an album, release a fashion line, or stage a jaw-dropping performance that shifted the narrative back in his favor. To Kanye, feuds weren't accidents. They were fuel. What makes Kanye unique in this regard is the way he blends personal passion with calculated timing. He doesn't pick fights for no reason. He picks fights when the world's eyes are drifting away from him, when his influence feels threatened, when the headlines belong to someone else. That's when he erupts. He pulls focus, whether it's by storming a stage, posting cryptic messages online, or calling out someone powerful. It's not always graceful, and it's certainly not always fair, but it's effective. His name always ends up back in the spotlight, but there's a darker side to this cycle. For all the strategic brilliance, Kanye's feuds have taken a toll on his reputation, on his relationships, and even on his mental health. He has admitted to living with bipolar disorder, and some of his most explosive moments have coincided with struggles in his personal life. This creates a tension. Are Kanye's feuds calculated moves, or are they symptoms of deeper battles within himself? The truth is, they're often both. Kanye's genius lies in his ability to turn even his lowest moments into fuel for his career. What others would see as destruction, he transforms into opportunity. That duality, chaos and strategy, is the heart of Kanye's history with feuds. When he fights, he isn't just venting anger, he's redirecting the world's gaze. When he lashes out, he isn't just losing control, he's also building a narrative where he remains the center of attention. And that's why, every time a new feud begins, it's worth asking not just who he's fighting with, but why. Looking back, it's clear that Kanye's biggest career moves were almost always tied to conflict. The Taylor Swift moment turned him into a household name beyond music. The Nike fallout led to the creation of Yeezy with Adidas. His feud with Jay-Z coincided with his rise as an independent powerhouse. Even his political controversies, while alienating to some, positioned him as more than just an entertainer. They made him a cultural lightning rod. So when Kanye enters a feud in 2025, history tells us it's not just an outburst, it's a move. The headlines may frame it as another example of his unpredictability, but those who study his career know better. He fights not just to win, but to stay relevant. He fights not just to express himself, but to remind the world he cannot be ignored. Kanye West's history proves that feuds are more than chaos. They are a tool, sometimes destructive, sometimes brilliant, but always deliberate in their impact. And if his past is any indication, his latest feud isn't random noise. It's a signal, a clue that Kanye is once again shifting the narrative, preparing to launch something new, or reclaiming attention at the exact moment he feels it slipping away. The man the world calls unpredictable is, in truth, one of the most predictably strategic artists alive when it comes to conflict. His enemies may change, his methods may shock, but the purpose remains the same: control the narrative by any means necessary. The hidden motive behind Kanye's latest feud. When Kanye West ignites a feud, the headlines always paint the same picture: an unpredictable artist lashing out. But if you strip away the shock value and the noise, a pattern becomes visible. Kanye doesn't start wars just to stir chaos. He starts them when something bigger is at stake, something he wants to protect, something he's about to launch, or something he fears losing. That's why his latest feud in 2025 is not just about ego. It's about survival, power, and strategy. So what exactly is Kanye fighting for this time? Protecting his legacy. At 47, Kanye is no longer the hungry newcomer storming the gates of the music industry. He's a legend. But with legendary status comes a new kind of fear, the fear of irrelevance. New artists dominate the charts, new designers dominate the fashion world, and younger voices dominate social media. For someone like Kanye, who built his career on being the center of every cultural conversation, that shift is terrifying. His latest feud, when you look closer, is as much about his legacy as it is about the person he's targeting. By calling someone out, by making noise, Kanye reminds the world that he's still here, still sharp, still unafraid to speak what others won't. The hidden motive is to protect his place in history, to make sure that no matter how much the industry changes, Kanye West is still the headline. Distracting from the wounds, Kanye's feuds have often appeared at moments when his personal life is under stress. Whether it's public battles with his ex-wife Kim Kardashian, custody struggles, or controversies tied to his mental health, Kanye has shown a knack for shifting attention. When the spotlight threatens to focus on his vulnerabilities, he creates a louder distraction. In 2025, his latest feud may very well be a smokescreen, a way to take the story away from sensitive areas of his life and point it towards someone else. He knows the media will always chase drama, so he gives them exactly what they crave. By doing so, he shields his most private struggles, even if it means sacrificing someone else's reputation. The hidden motive isn't just to attack, it's to protect. Fueling a new project. Perhaps the most consistent pattern in Kanye's feuds is their timing. When he clashed with Nike, Yeezy was waiting in the wings. When he reignited tension with Drake, music was on the horizon. When he made shocking political statements, an album release or fashion show often followed. The outrage guaranteed that all eyes would be on him when the project finally dropped. That's why fans and critics alike suspect that his latest feud in 2025 is tied to a new release. It could be an album, another fashion line, or even one of his ambitious ventures into tech and architecture. Whatever it is, Kanye knows that conflict is free advertising. By sparking a war of words, he ensures that the world is watching just as he's ready to unveil something new. The hidden motive is marketing, masked as mayhem. Reclaiming control for Kanye, feuds are also about power. In his mind, silence equals submission. If someone challenges him, criticizes him, or even steals the spotlight, he feels the need to respond loudly. His latest feud isn't just about the surface-level insult or disagreement. It's about sending a message that nobody controls Kanye West but Kanye West. This is part of his psychology. For decades, he has resisted authority, from record labels to fashion executives to politicians. His latest conflict is another chapter in that lifelong battle. The hidden motive isn't pettiness. It's about reminding the world and himself that he refuses to be managed, ignored, or silenced. Feeding the persona Kanye has built his brand on unpredictability. His fans expect it. His critics expect it. If he were suddenly quiet, cooperative, and conventional, he would lose the very identity that sets him apart. Feuds, then, are not just accidents. They are performances. They fuel the persona of Kanye the rebel, Kanye the disruptor, Kanye the visionary who doesn't care what you think. His latest feud fits perfectly into this narrative. The hidden motive here is image maintenance. By stirring controversy, he stays true to the role he has built over decades. He ensures that the world continues to see him not as a fading star, but as a man who cannot be ignored, even in middle age. The deeper truth. When you put all these layers together, legacy, distraction, marketing, control, persona, Kanye's latest feud stops looking like a tantrum and starts looking like a chess move. Yes, it is loud, messy, and emotional on the surface, but underneath, it's deliberate. He fights when he needs attention. He fights when he feels threatened. He fights when he wants to sell something. The hidden motive is simple: survival in an industry that eats its own. Kanye knows that silence is death for a celebrity. In his world, relevance is power, and power is survival. His feuds are not just about anger, they are about making sure his voice is never drowned out, no matter who else is speaking. And that's why his latest feud matters, not because of the insults exchanged, but because of what it reveals. A man who will do whatever it takes to stay in control of his story, even if it means turning the world into an audience for his chaos. The future of feuds, Kanye's legacy, relevance, and what comes next. Kanye West has always been more than a musician. He's a cultural disruptor, a designer, a provocateur, and perhaps most importantly, a master of narrative. For years, his feuds have kept him in the spotlight, sometimes burning bridges, sometimes building empires. But as we look at Kanye in 2025, the question isn't just why he's fighting another battle. The question is, what does it mean for his future? Will feuds still fuel him as they once did? Or will the same fire that made him legendary eventually burn him out? The changing landscape. To understand where Kanye stands now, you have to understand how the world around him has changed. In the early 2000s, Kanye's outbursts were shocking, interrupting Taylor Swift, criticizing a sitting U.S. president on live TV, lashing out at corporations. These moments shook culture because few dared to behave that way. But in 2025, chaos has become part of the daily diet of celebrity culture. Social media thrives on conflict. Influencers pick fights for clicks, and scandals trend every hour. The shock value that once set Kanye apart is now commonplace. That creates a challenge. For Kanye, who built his empire on disruption, the bar has been raised. He can't just be loud, he has to be louder. He can't just be controversial, he has to be explosive. His latest feud in 2025 proves that he's still willing to rise to that challenge, but it also begs the question, how long can he keep escalating before the world stops being impressed and starts being exhausted? Legacy versus relevance. Kanye is a man at the crossroads of legacy and relevance. On one hand, his legacy is secure. He has changed hip-hop forever, pushed boundaries in fashion, and created cultural moments that will be remembered for decades. On the other hand, he fears fading into the background, becoming a relic of the past, while new stars dominate the charts and headlines. That fear is part of the hidden motive behind his feuds. They are not just about the present. They are about keeping his name alive in the cultural bloodstream so that future generations don't relegate him to history books. Every feud reminds the world, Kanye is still here, still unpredictable, still a force. But this strategy comes at a cost. Legacy is about respect, about how history remembers you. Relevance is about noise, about staying in the conversation. The more Kanye chases relevance through feuds, the more he risks damaging the respect that defines legacy. It's a tightrope, and one misstep could tip him from legend to cautionary tale. The toll of conflict. Another factor that shapes Kanye's future is the personal toll these battles take. Feuds demand energy, emotional, mental, and creative. Kanye has always drawn strength from conflict, turning anger into music, fashion, and art. But at 47, the toll is heavier. His mental health has been a public struggle, and every feud amplifies that strain. The question becomes, how sustainable is this strategy? Can Kanye continue to thrive on conflict, or will it eventually consume him? Many of his fans worry that the constant need to fight keeps him from finding peace. And perhaps that's the greatest tragedy of his career. The same fire that makes him brilliant also prevents him from resting. His future will depend on whether he can channel conflict into creativity without letting it destroy him. Reinvention is the key. If Kanye's history proves anything, it's that he knows how to reinvent himself. He went from producer to rapper, from rapper to fashion mogul, from fashion mogul to cultural lightning rod. Each time people doubted him, he used conflict to fuel his transformation. That's why his latest feud in 2025 may not just be about ego, it may be the prelude to his next reinvention. Some speculate that he's preparing to launch a new creative project, a groundbreaking album, a fashion revolution, or even another foray into politics. Others believe he's trying to cement his place as more than just a musician, but as a permanent cultural force, someone whose influence stretches across industries. Whatever the case, his feud is likely tied to something bigger, something that once again shifts the spotlight in his direction, just as he unveils a new chapter. The audience factor, one element that cannot be ignored, is the audience itself. For decades, Kanye's feuds worked because the public was willing to play along. Every outburst became a trending topic. Every insult sparked debates. Every battle was dissected endlessly. But audiences are changing. In 2025, the attention span is shorter, and the appetite for constant conflict is thinning. People crave authenticity, but they are also quick to move on. This puts Kanye in a precarious position. If his feuds feel too staged, too repetitive, the audience may stop caring. And for Kanye, indifference is worse than hate. His challenge now is to ensure that his battles still feel urgent, still feel real, still feel like more than just publicity stunts. Whether he succeeds will determine whether feuds remain his fuel or become his downfall. A glimpse of growth. And yet, despite the chaos, there are glimpses of growth in Kanye's 2025 story. In moments of vulnerability, he has admitted that he doesn't want to be defined only by conflict. He speaks of legacy, of wanting to inspire, of wanting to create art that lasts beyond headlines. These glimpses suggest that while feuds remain part of his playbook, he may also be seeking a future where his influence comes from creation, not just destruction. If he can balance these two sides, the disruptor and the creator, Kanye's future could be brighter than ever. If not, he risks being remembered less for his genius and more for his noise. What the future holds. So what does Kanye's latest feud reveal about his future? It reveals a man still unwilling to be ignored. It reveals an artist still fighting to protect his legacy, to market his projects, and to reclaim the narrative whenever it slips from his hands. But it also reveals the fragility of that strategy in a world where audiences move faster than ever and where constant conflict can wear even the strongest down. Kanye West's story has always been one of extremes. Brilliance and chaos, vision and destruction, love and war. His latest feud is simply the newest chapter in that saga. Whether it leads to reinvention or collapse will depend on how he channels the conflict. Will he use it to create something timeless, or will it become another spark that burns out quickly? In the end, Kanye's hidden motive is not just about the person he's feuding with. It's about himself. It's about proving, once again, that he is too big, too bold, too uncontainable to ever fade quietly into the background. And whether you love him or hate him, one thing is certain: Kanye West will not let you forget him. Kanye West's latest feud might look like just another headline, but history tells us otherwise. Every time he fights, there's something deeper at play. A hidden motive, a bigger strategy, a plan to pull the spotlight back in his direction. In 2025, that motive is clearer than ever, protecting his legacy, fueling his next reinvention, and reminding the world that Kanye West refuses to fade into the background. Love him or hate him, Kanye has always known how to turn conflict into currency. His feuds aren't just chaos, they're calculated moves in a game only he knows how to play. But here's the question: how long can that strategy last? Will his battles keep him relevant, or will they finally cost him the respect that defines true legacy? One thing is certain: Kanye will never choose silence. He will always fight, always provoke, always demand to be heard. And in doing so, he forces us all to watch, to debate, and to wonder what his next move will be. But what do you think? Is Kanye still the master of his narrative, or is he just trapped in the chaos he created? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that reveal the truth behind the headlines.